Okay, so we just got an Xbox console. This is the older one. It's not the Xbox One S or the One X. It's labeled as the Xbox One console. It needs an HDMI port replacement. We're gonna go ahead and change the HDMI port on this console, but before we do so, we have to take it apart. So let's proceed with taking this apart, and then we'll go under the microscope so we can see how to change the HDMI port on this console. Okay, so the board is out. Thank you very much, Big Boss. Okay, so right there, we do see damage to the HDMI port. And that's what I wanted to see before I start. Let's go ahead and proceed with the HDMI port replacement. So let's start by applying low melt solder here. I mean, I'm always happy when I do not see a repair attempt on a device, especially HDMI ports. Look at this customer here. He sent us this image of his PlayStation motherboard. He attempted the repair. And look at what's happening here. Look at this war zone here. I see like at least 5 missing pads. We see burn marks all over the place. And when a customer sends us an email like this with a picture like this, I accept the repair, but I tell the customer, like I said here, it's gonna be $110 to change the HDMI port. If it's unfixable, then we're still gonna charge you $50 for the repair attempt. So if I spent an hour on the board and the board cannot be fixed for whatever reason, maybe there's something else wrong with the board. We do not have a circuit diagram for the PS4. If for whatever reason the board cannot be fixed after we change the HDMI port, and after we do our best to restore those pads, board is still not working, at least I know that we're gonna get paid a minimal fee of $50. It's not much money, but it compensates for the time spent on that board. Customer accepted, and he already mailed in the board. I'll most likely do it on camera when the board arrives. Let's get back to desoldering that HDMI port. The first thing we're gonna do is apply low melt solder, like I said.
Hi, can you work on a MacBook Pro?
Yes, we can.
All right. What I need to have done is have a new keyboard installed, and I want to put in a solid-state hard drive.
Okay.
I've got those parts.
All right.
And I bring it over. You're able to.
Hi, I would just like to ask how was the progress of the computer that I left last week?
Which one is it?
The one.
These are the backlights for the connector. I have a new Weller tip that we bought. It's a slightly bigger tip. At times I feel like I need a bigger tip. Most of the tips that I have in here are micro soldering tips. They are fairly small. This one is a little bit bigger. I have not tried that one yet. It's still brand new. But it's bigger than any tip that I have here. So let's go ahead and try that tip. Okay, it's still nice and shiny. It's gonna turn dark after the first couple of uses. Bigger tip means more heat transfer onto the board. Small tip, even if you have it at 1000 degrees, is not going to melt big components. It's all about the heat transfer, and I have a video on heat transfer. Look at tip sizes and heat properties. I have a video on that, and I show you by example under a thermal camera how small tips transfer heat compared to bigger tips. Okay, so let's see. Right, piece of cake. But the fume extractor is off. One moment. You see how that pin is moving? A lot of heat is being transferred onto the board, and in order for solder to melt, the board itself must reach melting temperature, and a bigger tip will help reach the melting temperature a lot faster than a smaller tip. If you use too small of a tip, then you may never reach melting temperature. Okay, so all we have to do now is apply heat from our hot air station. We're not gonna apply heat for too long because low melt solder is gonna melt quickly, and we will be able to remove that connector. And the temperature, we do not have to go high, probably somewhere like 380, which is safe for the board. And 380 is not gonna melt any components on the board. So by using 380, we can safely take the HDMI port out without causing any other components to get affected by the heat. So let me do this. Look at this. It only took a few seconds. Maybe 3-4 seconds. We're gonna start by cleaning. I bought this wick maybe 2 weeks ago. The wick is really heavy duty, and this one should absorb a lot more solder because there's a lot of braids on that one. I'll post a link to that wick in the description. Look at that. Okay. This wick is amazing. It absorbs a lot of solder. I mean, I used to use a lot of wick to absorb the solder off the holes here. I think this is just Flux over here. Yeah, Flux.
afternoon. This is Allison from United States Postal Service, Dallas. I sent an email to the processing center since that's the last place your item was scanned to see if they can confirm your item was dispatched and if they could give me any further information in regards to your item.
Yes.
Okay.
So, all right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right,
Have a
bye.
good day.
We mailed a package to a customer in Texas. The package has been in Texas for over 4 days, and we do not know where that package is right now. Looking at the tracking history, look at this. Package was shipped on the 28th. From the 31st to April 4, there's no word on that package. Things like this happen sometimes, but luckily we haven't had these issues with the post office. Very, very rare. Hopefully it gets to the customer safely. So here's our new port. Let's solder it on. There's this one person, he keeps calling from I do not know what international number. He's calling on WhatsApp video and Facebook video chat. He was asking about an iPhone repair, but he calls like 4 o'clock at night, or 4 o'clock midnight, or 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock midnight, 1 o'clock midnight. He does not like to send a message or send an email or even talk voice. It's gotta be video call. We do not answer calls on WhatsApp, and we do not answer calls on Facebook. We answer messages on Facebook. We answer messages coming from our website. We answer emails. We answer YouTube comments.
Hi, how are you doing? Okay, well, I'll see you soon.
All right, see you then. Bye-bye. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by applying a little bit of solder on the front pins here, so we can secure that connector in place, and then we can jump to the back and solder the legs, and then we'll come to the front and finish off with soldering the front pins. Oh, one moment. By doing so, we held that connector in place.
Hello. Yes, you're the computer repair
Yes,
center?
yes,
Hey,
yes.
how are you, my friend?
All right, doing good.
Good. I just flew out here from Baltimore, and I packed my laptop in my luggage. It probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, and I placed it on top under a few shirts. Anyway, in the process, my screen, I guess when they were unloading or loading the luggage, my screen cracked.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you guys do that, replace screens or repair screens or whatever.
We can, of course.
Oh, great! Thank you so much.
All right.
friend.
No.
Look forward to it.
All right.
Okay.
Take care. Bye bye.
You too.
Okay. So let's apply flux here, and we're gonna apply flux here and here. We're gonna use our big tip again. Okay, and everything looks perfect from the back. We're gonna go back and solder the front pins, but before we do, let's quickly clean up here. Okay, so that's the perfect amount of solder. We're gonna spread the solder over the pins, but before I do so, the fan is bothering me. We need to remove this fan. The distance between the fan and the connector is far, but you know, when I want to solder, my hand is pressing on the fan and I'm not very comfortable. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the fan. All right, doing good.
I mailed you a MacBook Pro.
Uh-huh. And now we can remove the fan and the heatsink from the back, but we have to disconnect this. Now it will be much easier to work on the port. Okay, so all we're doing is soaking the pins with solder so they can make a good connection. Any excess solder we can wick right off. Let me take this real quick. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good.
So this is solid, solid. If there's anything that's not solid, it will certainly move, and none of the pins are moving. Everything is super solid, and the job is done. That's it, job is done. We're gonna do one final cleanup and give it back to Big Boss to reassemble it. And we're almost done. Unfortunately, we do not have the power cable for that console, so we're not going to be able to try it here, but the customer can always come back if any issues. He's local. The power cable on this is different than the PlayStation or the Xbox One X or the One S or any other console. And that's it, the console is done. We also changed the thermal paste on the CPU because it did not look good. We cleaned out the inside, so everything should be back like new. We're gonna call the customer, and that's it for this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video.